You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. Firstly, thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. If you could just introduce yourselves and tell our listeners a little bit about yourselves as well to start us off.
Okay, good morning. I'm Simon, and I am the retail director for a chain of tyre fitting centres across the UK. There are 110 of those, and I'm here to talk today about the importance of checking your tyres.
Okay, I'm Steve Dalby. I'm here working on behalf of Tyresafe. Tyresafe is the UK's charity dedicated to raising the awareness of the importance of the correct tyre maintenance and also the dangers of defective and illegal tyres. I've been in the tyre industry for 37 years, and I've been testing tyres for a long period as well.
Hi, my name is Sally Whittle, and I'm a blogger. I write a blog called Who's the Mummy, and I am here with Tyresafe and Protyre, and really just giving an everyday motorist perspective on this sort of issue of tyre safety.
So we are going to be talking all about tyre safety, and it sounds like tyres are something that motorists don't always think about. So what is the scale of this sort of problem?
It's a very big problem. Tyresafe carried out a survey with the results of which estimated there are 10 million illegal tyres being used on our roads today. That means 1 in 4 tyres are below the legal minimum tread depth or on the minimum tread depth of 1.6 millimetres. So that's a huge, huge number, and those tyres will not perform as well as a tyre with a decent amount of tread depth on it. And it's important because the weather's changing, and particularly critical as the weather changes to damp, wet weather, windy weather, cold nights, maybe a bit of frost. Those tyres will affect the handling of the car.
Well, it sounds like something we should be concerned about, and I think something we probably don't always think about because we've had all the good summer weather. You sort of just carry on driving and don't always think about that really the tyres, may need changing, especially as we come into this winter weather, which, is really beginning to start now.
That's absolutely correct. Another survey has suggested that 1 in 5 people have never checked their tyres. Now, there's 2 critical elements of the tyres that we'd like people to check. One is the tread depth, so have you got sufficient tread depth to drive safely? And also, are you checking the pressures of your tyres? So the tyre pressures, so the amount of air you've got in your tyres. They're the 2 key areas that we'd like all your listeners to check.
And I suppose something that really isn't that difficult to actually do, and pretty quick to do as well in the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, this is Steve from Tyresafe. Yeah, a quick way to check your tread depth is what we call the 20p test. So all you need there is a 20p coin. Just pop it into your tread main tread grooves, basically, across the tyre and around the tyre at several points, and just see whether the outer band of the coin is still visible when you put the 20p in the grooves. If the outer band is still visible, then it's possible that your tyres are illegal, and certainly they have a low tread depth. So you need to get them checked by tyre professionals. It's a quick and easy test. Tyre pressure is also vitally important. Make sure your tyres have got the right pressures in them. And we reckon that you should be checking your pressures once a month at least, and before every long journey. So without the right tyre pressures, you're going to use more fuel. The car's not going to handle right, and your tyres are going to wear out quicker as well. So ensure you've got the right tyre pressures and your tread depth for legal.
So what sort of initiatives are taking place to raise awareness of this sort of problem?
There's various initiatives taking place, and I'll pass you on to Sally in just a moment because she's been helping with doing some tyre testing as somebody very independent. Within the industry professionals, we're carrying out safety checks. So Protyre this month will carry out 300,000 safety checks, and we expect to identify somewhere between 70,000 and 80,000 defective tyres. And also Tyresafe have organised for a lot of the Blue Top services to be supporting them and carrying out checks. So you will see checks being carried out in supermarket car parks, in shopping centres, supported by the police and supported by the fire services. So they were trying to raise awareness through various channels. And if I could pass one to Sally, Sally took part in a Tyre Safety Day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I did. So I've been working with Protyre and with Tyresafe to produce a video where I was invited to go down to a motor speedway and drive cars with different sorts of tyres. So I got to drive a car that had brand new tyres, one that had budget tyres and one that had worn tyres. And in each of those cars, I got to drive on a simulated wet track. And then there's fancy mechanics there. I don't know exactly how it works. Fancy mechanics that make your car skid. And it was actually really fascinating. I say fascinating, I mean terrifying. It was really terrifying to see the difference between having a car that has new tyres and bringing that back under control and bringing it to a stop versus a car that had worn tyres. And these were worn tyres that were still legal, but actually the difference between those tyres and a tyre with a good tread depth is really scary when you're actually in the car experiencing that kind of skid. And you can see the video for that on YouTube. I think it's on the Protyre YouTube channel, and I've also got it on my blog as well.
I was going to say, at what point are worn tyres becoming a problem? Because technically, you put new tyres on your car, they could be worn after a week. So at what point is that wear really becoming dangerous, even if they're technically legal?
Well, Tyresafe reckon you should be changing your tyres at least when they get down to the legal limit, which is 1.6 millimetres. But in very wet conditions, as the tyre wears down, so its wet performance will decrease. So it's up to individuals when they change the tyres themselves. But you will start to see a significant difference in very deep water when the tyres get to below 3 millimetres, for example. But because there's so many illegal tyres on the road, Tyresafe will be happy if people at least change their tyres when they're down to the legal limit and also maintain their tyre pressures correctly.
So I think coming back to Sally, what sort of advice would you give to other regular drivers like you after experiencing what it's like driving on those different tyres?
I think it's really tempting in this day and age to look at your tyres and think, well, maybe they're still just about legal. I'll chance it. I think it will be fine. And actually, I can tell you from first-hand experience that when you're in a car that's moving and you don't have control over that car, actually, there's nothing you would rather spend that money on. I think the research that I've seen from Tyresafe would suggest that if you're in a car that has those worn tyres, your stopping distance can be as much as 11 vehicles more distance. And when you're driving around with your kids in the back of the car, that really could make the difference between escaping an incident and having a really very nasty collision indeed. So I think it's just about saying, really think about it. This is a priority, and it isn't something that you should just be taking a chance on.
I suppose the trouble is on day-to-day driving, the car does handle well, and we don't always realise just on the limits we are to losing control and what a difference tyres can make. And you doing that experience, you've been able to really see that point of where the limit goes beyond what the tyres can take.
Oh, absolutely. And you're talking to someone who 6 months ago had to confess to a friend that I didn't know how to check my tyre pressure. So I'm really not a car person, but I have to say that having seen it firsthand, I would never really want to chance it with getting cheap tyres. I would always say buy the best tyres that you can afford, and every couple of weeks at least you should be checking your tyres, because it may only be once every few years that you need to do that emergency stop in bad conditions. But your children are the most important thing. Your health is the most important thing. So do spend that money, do make that check and make it a priority.
So you were saying it wasn't so long ago you didn't know how to do those checks and check tyre pressures. If there's someone listening at the moment who's in that situation now, was it actually that difficult to learn, and is it that difficult to do?
It was embarrassingly easy. And I have to say, I've never done it because I drive a reasonably new car, and I suspect that, like lots of people, I trusted my garage to look after it. I'd asked my dad to take a look. I'd asked my brother to take a look. And it's silly because actually checking it, particularly with the 20p test that we've already talked about, it's so easy just to get a quick idea. And if not, you can always take the car into the garage. The tyre dealer will do a free check for you. It takes a few minutes.
Was there anything else any of you would like to get over to our listeners or cover that we haven't done yet?
I'll probably just make sure that people are aware that it is themselves that are responsible for their own tyres. As Sally says, don't rely on the garage. If you do get stopped with an illegal tyre, it's you that will get the points on your licence, and it's you that could get a fine of up to £2,500. So just take responsibility for your own tyres, and as Tyresafe say, don't chance it, check it.
Where can our listeners find out more information?
We'd recommend you go to tyresafe.org. That will connect you with all their recommended tyre dealers and carry out these free checks for you. Or you can head to protyre.co.uk.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you very much for taking the time out to talk to us here at BRFM Bridge Radio on the Daniel Monday Night Community Show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.